Oh, by the way, do I look like Regis Philbin? I know he's dead, but...
Gee, this is a big question. Do you look like Regis Philbin, like on the Daily or something?
There's a woman, and she just swears that I am the spitting image of Regis Philbin.
Maybe.
Maybe, when I'm wearing the mask.
You guys might have like the same shaped face. Like
Yeah.
when you said that, then I was like,
Yeah, it's kind of,
Maybe.
square. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
there goes my thing. All right, here we go. We're going to go.
Psst.
Hey, kid.
Okay, welcome back. We are here at Hey Kid, and I am here with my best friend and mentor, JM. How you doing, JM?
I'm awesome.
Awesome. Very good.
How are you?
Hi, hey, terrific. So what are we up to today? Something I'm betting something incredibly interesting, even though I don't know what it is.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
We are going to talk a little bit about the Ancestral Diet.
Yay!
Ancestral diet.
Diet.
Okay. And you're probably, hopefully, going to tell me what that is because I'm puzzled.
This is the food that your ancestors ate.
Okay. And when we say ancestors, I mean, how far back we going here?
We can go back pretty far. We're going to focus on your mom's side, your great grandmothers. And there's a reason for that, Sabi. We all get our good guys, our good gut bacteria, our gut biome from our moms.
From our moms.
Yeah.
Okay.
When we are delivered through the birth canal. And we also get it from breastfeeding.
Dad's got nothing to do with it.
Sorry, Dad.
Hey, we have other things that we do.
Yeah, you contribute in other ways.
Sure.
But not this way.
Okay.
So that bacteria that came from your mom had a preference for food, for its, not just for its survival, but for its own health, so that it could, be happy, functional, procreate, and
I got you.
and protect your body in the in the process. I was trying to think of an analogy, and I came up with a car. So there's different levels of cars that you can buy, and some of them are like, simple transportation vehicles like I would have.
Right.
And then there's like Lamborghinis,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you have a Lamborghini, it is recommended that you put in like the very expensive gas, the high octane
Yeah.
gas.
Super high
Because
octane. Yeah.
the engine on a Lamborghini functions best when you put in that super expensive high octane gas.
Yeah. Sure.
So that's what that engine was built to run on.
Yeah.
The car I drive is built to run on regular gas. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah. Whew.
Phew.
Yeah. Yep.
But if I went and put regular gas in a Lamborghini, or in other words, in an engine that was built for a high octane gas,
Yep.
would that engine run?
Well, yeah. I mean, it would run, but it wouldn't certainly run nearly as well. Not the way it was designed to.
Ding, ding, ding.
Aha.
Right.
I see. So you're saying that the various bacteria in our gut biome, they like different things, and so they should get fed, to operate at their highest level. They need to get fed with their favorites.
You're a good student, Sabi. If we go by survival of the fittest, and we go and we look at what our great grandmothers were eating on our mother's side, that's what was feeding our good gut bacteria that got passed from generation to generation.
Then you're saying that for me to, get my gut biome to be performing at its optimal level, I should be feeding it like what my mother or grandmother on my maternal side.
Go back. America's kind of we forget, like, America's kind of a newish country.
Yeah.
Can you go back if you're able? Can you go back and see?
Well,
go
yeah.
a little further back in your
Sure.
chain there, if you can.
Yeah, well, I mean, my mother and my grandmother were in Canada, in New Brunswick, Canada, over on the eastern seaboard. But before that, it would have been British Isles.
So what are those those land masses like in those countries?
Well, there's a lot of rain. It's land that's surrounded by water, so I would imagine that, a lot of the nutrients came from the sea. Yeah, sorry, my earbud fell out again. I think this is a constant thing that happens in this show.
Do you think, can Apple just send him some of those new AirPod things? We'll promote them on the show.
Yeah, exactly. Look right here.
Let's start a GoFundMe AirPod page.
I'm gonna get a piece of tape.
Yeah, duct tape. I said that before.
Piece of gaffer's tape. We got to be quiet though, because I'm not in the gaffers union. But maybe they'll forgive me for this. Hold on.
How'd you get the tape? Never mind. Don't.
Yeah, okay, shush.
I don't
Let's not
wanna
get me
know.
in trouble here. All right. This is ridiculous. This is going to be so stupid. Okay.
Wow, this is genius.
We'll do anything to... It's going to fall out anyway. Okay.
I'm gonna use some of that and tape up my wrinkles.
You don't have any... Good Lord, you don't have wrinkles.
Oh, pipe down, you.
Okay. So we got a little off topic there. Sorry, folks.
So let's get back to you.
Ooh, okay. But enough about you. Let's
But
talk
enough
about
about-
me.
Yeah, enough about me. Let's talk about you.
Okay.
So,
Very good.
so without cheating and doing a Google search, what would you guess the menu was there back then?
I would guess that it's going to be a lot of saltwater fish, salmon, swordfish, cod, halibut, things like that. And then, I mean, again, rural areas. So I would think that they had, that they slaughtered a pig every year and had chickens and cattle. I'm sure that the beef was all grass-fed, which we know from an earlier episode that we did. Grass-fed beef is absolutely the best. And
100%.
is that kind of where you're going?
Yeah. And then they hopped on over the pond to Canada. Tell us a little bit about where geographically where they live.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my grandmother, grandfather, and all their kids settled in St. John, New Brunswick, which is right on the Bay of Fundy, across from Nova Scotia. I don't know. People know the Bay of Fundy, but it's quite an impressive body of water, highest tides in the world, and a lot of salt water. And I know that they had horses for labor, for plowing and stuff. But I know that they had a pig every year. They'd slaughter a pig, and they had cows for milk and, what have you. So, yeah,
Okay.
It was very similar, I would say, to what went on, back in the British Isles.
So, Sabi shared with me that you used to go to Canada. Is that correct? So your parents lived in the northeast corner
Yes.
of
New
the
England,
United
yeah,
States.
right?
And then in the summers as a kid, you used to spend the summers in Canada and visit your relatives.
Yep.
Why don't you tell us what you remember eating as a kid when you visited?
I'll try not to confabulate, but
What?
said I'll try not to confabulate. No.
Now you're just making stuff up.
Oh, really? You think I'm making up words now? You want to bet a shiny new dime on that?
Sure.
Okay.
Professor Pierce, come on, is that a real word?
The word of the day, and it is a word, is confabulate. It means to replace a gap in one's memory with a falsification, which one believes to be true.
Confabulate.
And don't think I'm going to forget about that shiny new dime either. So,
Yeah,
okay.
it's in the mail.
Yeah. You know what? But to get back to your question, it's in the mail. Yeah, sure. We ate probably a little bit more seafood when we were up there. My uncle was a salmon fisherman, and would supply us with fresh salmon from time to time. We also did beef and pork, and I mean the usual stuff. One of the strangest snacks that we ate is a thing called dulse, and which I think you can only get in New Brunswick and maybe Nova Scotia, and it's actually seaweed. And and it's a dark purplish seaweed, sort of a wide band ribbon type of seaweed, and it grows in the Bay of Fundy. And because the Bay of Fundy has such huge tides, 50, 60 feet, so great expanses of ocean floor are exposed, and you can walk out there, and they go out and they harvest this seaweed, and then they dry it on a rock in the sun, and then and then they put it in a, back when I was a kid, it's probably packaged differently now, but they put it in a brown, like a lunch bag, a little brown paper bag, and sell it in the stores. And you can buy a bag of dulse. I know with today, with all of the processing and stuff that we do in food to make sure that there's no germs or anything, bacteria, whatever, good or bad. It seems weird that you would just pull something out of the ocean, lay it on a rock for 6 hours, and then stick it in a bag and sell it. But that's what they did.
Wait.
Yeah.
What did it taste like? What did it taste like?
Oh, well, it had a definite seafaring quality to it. It was very,
I'd imagine.
very salty. It wasn't really fishy, but it was salty and kind of chewy. I loved it. A lot of people didn't, but
Is it like dried out like chips? I'm a big fan of potato chips. Is it like would it take the place of, or have the same like?
Kinda, but it's a little bit. Even though it's dried, it still has a little sponginess to it. Might be like Might be like stale chips or something.
Interesting.
But so that was, and it's very, very high, I understand, in iodine content. Is that a good or a bad thing?
If your body is set up for lots of iodine,
Yeah.
it's a very good thing.
Oh well, it's got that.
I want to try some.
Okay. Well, I'll order some. We'll Amazon it to you.
Cool.
And or we'll have a bowl of it here when we do post production for the show, and you can be introduced to dulse.
You have to wiggin across the room 12 feet because social distancing.
Right. Well, we're certainly social distancing now. We're 38 miles apart, but yeah.
30. Are you sure it's 38? Not 37?
Yeah, well, 38.2. Yeah. You always add the decimal point just to make it sound like you really know what you're talking about. Yeah, I have no idea.
I'm just busting them.
I know. I can tell.
All right, so then let's do this. Let's fast forward to today.
Right.
And tell us a little bit about, now, sometimes when you're trying to play detective, one of the easiest ways to do that is to pay attention to your cravings. Now people will say, well, JM, I crave 6 bags of Doritos in the course of a week.
Yeah. Yes.
I get it.
I like pizza and beer. How's that? Yeah. Okay.
Right. But let's stick with the Doritos for a second.
Sure.
A lot of salt in Doritos, right?
Yes.
Okay. So in that case, you would like to look at the good intention behind the bad behavior, like my friend Karen Mullen likes to say. The good intention behind the bad behavior of eating a bag of Doritos a night is probably because you're looking for that salt.
I'm craving salt.
Maybe something comes, yeah. So now roll it back, and I am way oversimplifying this, but let's roll it back to your ancestral diet and the things you ate as a kid. You just explained to us that you ate dulse,
yeah.
Dulse, which is very salty and excellent, and you loved it, and it's loaded with minerals and iodine, probably pretty rich in iodine.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you eat a bag of Doritos every night, Sabi.
No, I don't.
No.
2 bags.
Two,
No, I don't. I'm kidding.
two bags of
I'm just
Doritos a
trying
day.
to horrify you.
But do you see how you can kind of try to figure out what it is you're craving in contemporary food that we have now, and try to find what the good thing in that food is. What is the good thing in that food? Now, the salt on Doritos is probably commercial salt and not loaded with a lot of minerals.
Right.
But it's satisfying something. What is that something that you need? So your ancestry, much like mine, comes from generations of people that lived near or on the ocean and the sea.
This makes great sense.
And probably the machinery that we inherited, our bodies, probably are pretty happy with a fair amount of seafood, iodine, and everything that comes from the sea. Still today, I love seafood.
Yeah.
I love it's just so expensive that I can't, it's like more like a treat, so I'll biohack
Right.
with krill oil versus, so you probably fish oil is pretty common. I go a step sort of beyond that, and I do krill oil, and then I do iodine as well. Do you want to talk about your staples in your real life today?
I have virtually no sweet tooth at all. I could go months without dessert. But I eat a lot of lean proteins if I can. Lean beef, chicken breast. I usually get like a pound of salmon. Some of my favorite vegetables are asparagus. I see people turning up their noses all over the world, and broccoli. So yeah,
Broccoli.
there are actually people that eat those, and on the rare occasion, Brussels sprouts. Although I don't mention that hardly at all because most people hate Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts are in, dude.
Are they?
Brussels sprouts, yeah. Ask anybody, any millennial. Yeah.
Okay.
There's like, those are kind
cool.
of like a hot vegetable. I didn't hear anything about fats.
Sabi, good fats are your best friend.
Yeah, I have a tendency, like, for instance, with chicken. One of the cheapest and easiest to get pieces of chicken is thigh, which is dark meat, which I, like it with turkey, Thanksgiving, and whatever. I love dark meat. But there's something about fatty chicken which does not sit well in my stomach. So I tend to do, chicken breast, so a leaner cut of that. And I know I said lean beef, but it's not always lean. I mean, like a ribeye steak is, it's got a big bead of fat going right through it. I usually get pork tenderloin, so that's probably a little less fat than like a pork chop or something. And in terms of fish, I think, two of my favorite fish are swordfish and salmon. And I think they're both pretty fatty, aren't they?
Yeah, salmon's way up there for sure. So can I just run a laundry list and tell you what all the benefits of an ancestral diet give you? It's a common myth, Sabi, that our Paleolithic ancestors lived only until age 30. That is not true.
Paleolithic?
Correct. Yeah.
Maybe we ought to... The word of the day is
Paleolithic.
Paleolithic. It means relating to or characteristic of the cultures of the late Pleistocene era or the early Stone Age.
The lower life expectancies in those studies were heavily skewed by higher rates of infant mortality. But if the modern hunter-gatherer made it through his childhood, they actually lived to about 78 years of age, which is, guys, what we live to. So the number one benefit is a longer health span. The second benefit, Sabi, is weight loss. Calorie for calorie, ancestral diets are generally more satisfying, and then you end up eating less food. Yeah. So the example of, I'm really picking hard on Doritos today, but the example of Doritos or anything, like I said, I love potato chips, right? But
Yes, she does.
if you were to eat the right, like let's say you're adult Dulse.
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 Yeah.
I'm willing to bet if I just had a couple of pieces of that dulse, the way that you described what it is, I would never eat a whole bag of dulse. I bet I'd be very satisfied with a couple of pieces as described.
Yeah.
And then go about my day. And then also my body would have nutrients in it that it was craving. Happy go out. You become satisfied when you eat stuff that your body wants,
Sure.
wants to eat. 3, decreased inflammation. Who doesn't want some of that? Right? Because our ancestors didn't eat refined anything. They didn't eat low-fat anything.
Right.
Right? Everything was pretty whole food,
Yep.
like whole foods. 4, reversal of metabolic syndrome. What is metabolic syndrome? This is large waist circumference, high blood pressure, elevated fasting glucose, elevated triglycerides, low HDL cholesterol, the good stuff. And the 5th one is better gut health. Right?
Excellent.
So that is exactly what we just talked about.
Right, and that's something
good
that everybody should be striving for.
I would suggest, and especially if you're raising kids and you want their good gut bacteria to be strong and vibrant and take care of your children, I would go back for grandmas and consider incorporating those foods in your kids' diet while they're growing. Right, so keep that gut bacteria strong.
Then, of course, what else would we like them to do, Chewy?
We would like you to like and subscribe and ring the bell so
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding, ding. You'll get notifications when we put one of these awesome videos out. Yay! And please leave us comments. Like, what did where are your ancestors from? What's your staple diet?
I would also be very interested if somebody in the comment section actually told me that they have ever eaten dulse, because I think I may be one of a dozen people in the world that's eaten it.
Our friends in Canada probably, if they in that region of Canada. Come on.
Exactly.
Our buddies
Exactly.
in Canada will chime in, I am sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
All my relatives, because I know they do eat it. So very good. And, that's going to do it for us here tonight.
Thanks, guys.
And, thanks for joining us. And until we see you next time, when that little notification bell goes off, we want to wish you good health and have a great week. Bye-bye.
Bye.